Welcome to I Said What I Said, a sports podcast giving you opinions not heard anywhere else. I'm your host, Brad Wakai, alongside my co-host, Tyson Gentry. Tyson, we've made it to the end of the week, and you know what that means. It's football, it's gambling, it's money time, baby.
We only got 3 of these left. That's crazy.
Don't depress me. Come on. It's already
Well,
cold. It's
true.
already dreary.
Well, and then we get into the futures markets, and so
That's
more fun, anyways.
Yeah, that's a good point. So if you couldn't tell, this is our divisional round best bets episode. We got a lot we're going to cover. We're going to go through each game. We got a bet and multiple in each game. It's going to be a good one today. We're loaded, locked and loaded, and we got to do it. We got to recap what happened last week because it was a good week. How about that? I went 4-4, so I brought us down a little bit here. I'm a little bit pissed off by some of the guys on the teams, but I'll start with the winners. Travis Kelce over 59.5 reception yards got home. That was a little sweaty, but Travis came through. Bills -10. You want to talk about a sweat, but holy smokes. That got home. CeeDee Lamb, backdoor is always open in that game. Over 100.5. He got there. And then Puka Nacua, the one that just was just a rocking chair play, over 76.5 receiving yards. So I missed on Brown's money line. Jerome Ford didn't get the ball and averaged less than 2 yards per carry, so he didn't go over his number. Tyreek Hill only catching 5 balls shocked me. That one was a tilt play. And then Chris Godwin, had that big one at the end. I thought maybe we got pushed over. No, he wasn't close to 56.5. So I went 4-4, lost 0.45 units.
I went 3-2. Started off with Pacheco over 25 rushing yards in each half. I'm going to just continue to play a little spoiler alert for the show. Cowboys team total over 29.5. There was a lot of time in this game where I didn't think we were getting there. And then, it became just – that's the only reason I left the game on was to see if the Cowboys were going to hit that number. Chris Godwin scores at the end of the game. Somebody was looking out for me this week. I got a couple back doors. Browns money line, we both got shredded. And then Rams Lions over 51.5. After that first half, man, I was so close to putting my feet up, and I'm glad I didn't because it didn't even get I needed so much to happen in the last couple minutes. It was crazy.
Yeah, they gave you that Godwin touchdown because you didn't get the Browns or the Rams Lions one home. But Tyson, up 2.41 units on the weekend. The Godwin plus 220 and then Pacheco plus 135. That helped them out. So as a show, we were up 1.96 units. We're going to try to keep that rolling in the playoffs here. And in the divisional round best bets, we took a couple shots on a specials. We're not putting that towards our records. Some you can call that cheap. That's like we're throwing little fun money at this. These are official plays here, but Tyson's got another fun one.
General disclaimer is if something is over, if we're over 1,000 or so on one play, it's more like just take your coffee money, put it on this. You get a whole day of entertainment.
Exactly. So let's start off here. What do you have for the week?
Oh, for the special. I was seeing where you're going. Again, we're going back to the well. It didn't hit last week, so I don't know if it's a good well, but each team to score 1+ rushing touchdown in all 4 divisional games is plus 6,000. Again, you're not worried about the Ravens. You're not worried about the 49ers. And then you start to get a little sweaty when you're thinking about everybody else. Aaron Jones showed us what he can do, but it's a different defense. And is Houston going to be able to score a rushing touchdown maybe in this weather? Who knows? But at plus 6,000, we need 8 rushing touchdowns. That's something that I like.
I'm intrigued by it. We got a little screwed last week, man. I'm not going to say pointing your fingers, Miami, but this could be a shot this week. So plus 6,000 there. Again, it's a big number. Don't go crazy on that. Now, let's start getting into these games. Now, like we always say, we're not pros here. The pros aren't betting the volume that we're betting with 4 games on the board. These are like the sharpest lines that we've seen all year, but we're rec bettors. We like to have fun. We like to put our plays down. So we'll share it with you and see if you agree or you can fade us, whatever the case may be.
Is that REC or WRECK?
It's both. It depends on the week. It depends on the season, really, to be honest for us. But Texans at Ravens, we'll start it off. And the Ravens are 9.5-point favorites. I'm not going to lie to you, Tyson. I'm taking it. I'm laying Ravens -9.5 at -110. I just think this team's better. Texans got to go on the road now. I saw something. This is from Cleve TA on X. He said the Texans have avoided facing a top 10 EPA QB since the season opener against Lamar. Baker 11th was the only other quarterback that Houston's faced that's inside the top 17 in EPA per dropback. This is a different beast. Now they got to go on outdoors. They got to battle these elements. The Ravens are not going to stop running the football. I think they're going to have success there. So I'm going to take Ravens minus 9.5 as my first play of the weekend.
And it's so tempting to go. It's the Ravens in the playoffs, and it's basically two scores, or it is two scores. But it's like we just are used to them not covering these numbers, and then you look through the history of this season alone, and it's like, oh, every time they played a good team, they beat the shit out of them. So 9.5, I'm not afraid. But my play in this game, Brad, is Gus Edwards anytime touchdown score plus 120. It's going to be cold. They're going to run the ball. Take your pick. Whatever Ravens rusher that you want, whether it's Lamar Jackson, Gus Edwards, just pick from the list. Basically, I think they're all good in the end zone.
And I got the other running back, Justice Hill, over 19.5 rush yards. 19.5 rush yards there. So they like Gus Edwards. Tyson, his workload's gone down a little bit. They really use him as a hammer in the end zone. Justice Hill's been getting the ball in the cold weather. Justice Hill can pop one. I think he's going to get a lot of work. A 19.5 feels insanely low to me. And sure, we don't know necessarily what the Ravens' plans are out of the bye. And I think the books are missing one here. Like, we saw the workload increase for Justice Hill when Keaton Mitchell went out with his injury. They're going to give the ball to Melvin Gordon. Like, I don't see that. Give me Justice Hill over 19.5 rush yards.
I can't believe that. Like, what a weird career for Justice Hill. It feels like maybe he wouldn't have stuck around this long if he was anywhere else but Baltimore, but they freaking love this dude.
I know, that's for sure. Okay, are we moving on to Packers and Niners?
That was the only one I have in that game, yes.
Beautiful. So I got Tyson, you're going to love this. I got 3 in Packers at Niners. So Niners are 9.5 point favorites, and a lot of these are props. Well, the 2 out of 3 are props, and so I'm going to lay it with the Niners. No, I'm sorry, only 1 is a prop. Niners minus 9.5. I'm going to take that here. I just think this offense is way too good against this Packers defense. That, sure, they showed some mettle against the Cowboys early. I don't trust it in this scenario. You got going on the road 2 weeks in a row against the Kyle Shanahan, who's able to see what you did last week. Better weapons than what Dallas has. More time for the Niners to scheme. Give me 9.5 Niners. I'm laying the big numbers with both these teams, but I'm not scared by it. These are the 2 best teams in the NFL. So, Tyson, by that front, I'm going to also double dip and take Niners team total over 30.5. Shanahan gets a little conservative, which scares me. He can kick field goals down in the red zone on the 5 when maybe he should go for it. The analytics would say so. But also when you're at the 30.5, 4 touchdowns and a field goal gets you home. Like, sometimes those field goals come to help you out. Where like, oh, we just went for it on 4th and we didn't get it. Well, that's a possession you didn't score points on. With a number like this, I want a guy who can be like, we'll just kick a field goal. 4 touchdowns and a field goal is not out of the question here. And I think against that defense, we can get home here. So I'm going to take 49ers team total over 30.5 as well. I got one more play, but I'll pass it over to you for yours.
I have like a real one, and then I have a fun one that I just personally would like to see hit. The real one is Jordan Love over 246.5 passing yards. This feels to me like a game they're going to be trailing. It feels to me like a game where he's going to have to throw the football. And it feels to me like maybe he's found his stride in a way that the books aren't respecting, because 246 feels like maybe just an average Jordan Love game at this point. But, Brad, the fun one, and the one that, is close to my heart if you've been listening to the show or listening to our pre-draft process and all that stuff. So I'm skipping anytime touchdown scorer here. I'm going to method of first touchdown scored. Jaden Reed rushing touchdown.
Ooh.
And it's plus 3,100.
Wow.
If I can pick him to either catch the ball for a touchdown or run a San Francisco 49ers handoff to the wide receiver as a jet sweep or whatever funky action that Matt LaFleur cooks up, I think that last week he didn't touch the ball, and I think everybody knows that. I also think Matt LaFleur knows that. I think this offense is, typically more explosive when he is involved. Last week was a bit of an anomaly. I think he gets the ball early, he gets the ball often.
So that's the method for that's anytime? Or that's the method of
I deleted it from the bet slip so I could follow it closer. I will find it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm trying to find that here because I'm intrigued by that.
Jaden Reed method of first touchdown, rushing touchdown plus 3,100.
Okay, so that's the first touchdown from him or the game?
That's something I'm gonna need to do some more digging on. Now I'm all confused, man.
Because I was gonna say, ooh, man, I could be intrigued by it. But you're getting
I think first touchdown of the
1,600.
game.
Okay. All right. Well, that's something to consider there if you guys like those markets. I never
Or
really dipped my toe into those.
flip side, if you really like Christian McCaffrey score a touchdown and you're thinking about him, receiving touchdown for Christian McCaffrey is also very much in play this week.
Yes, absolutely. So I'll close out this game here. I'm going to take George Kittle over 53.5 receiving yards. Um, Ferguson shredded up the Packers last week across the middle. Jake Ferguson did. George Kittle can pop one big. I don't know how many targets he's going to see in this, but I'm thinking about it from this front. So Jair Alexander is probably going to shadow or at least get the majority of the work on Debo. I don't necessarily think he's just going to take him out of the game, but if the first read isn't there for Purdy, he's going to go through the secondary options. It's going to be Ayuk or Kittle. The middle of the defense is soft. Why would you not target the best tight end, the top 3 tight end in the NFL that George Kittle is? I think he could have a monster game here. And Tyson, we maybe only need to get 2 catches to get this home with his yards after the catch potential.
Do you think that there's a prop out there that Quay Walker gets booted from this one because he's going to be livid and he's going to be doing some wild stuff?
Oh man, that would be something else. Let's get into this one. Bucs at Lions. Lions 6.5-point favorites. I also have 3 plays in this one. Now 2 of these are props, so I got a little confused here. Tyson, I'll start here and I'll throw it to you. I'm going to go over 48.5. And then our preview show, we talked about this a little bit, where I think the weaknesses are the weaknesses for both teams, and the strengths are the strengths for both teams that they can attack the weaknesses of. Now, I just made that ridiculously confusing. So the strength of the Bucs offense is explosive plays. That's the weakness of the Lions secondary. I think the Bucs can take advantage there. The strength of the Bucs defense is blitzing and throwing exotic looks at the Lions. Well, the Lions' strength is having people who can beat that coverage and space. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Laporta, Josh Reynolds, you name it. And they got another explosive guy that I think could have a big game here. So I think we're going to see a lot of points, a lot of explosives, and this should be a fun one. I think this one's the fireworks show that we were expecting in the first half that we got in the Rams game, but this one is a fun one, especially in the Dome.
My play in this game, and I mean, again, if you follow the pre-draft process at all, you might know where I'm going in most of these. Jahmyr Gibbs to lead the game in rushing at plus 230. This feels like a Gibbs game to me. I think that you mentioned with all of the blitz looks and everything that Todd Bowles is going to show, you're going to want to get wide. And are you spreading them out? Are you going outside zone with David Montgomery over and over again? Maybe, and it probably was going to work. But I do think that this is a Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm just going to break a couple here. Finish the game with 85 rushing yards on 9 carries. We're all looking around, going, "Damn, this kid is pretty good." I'm not interested in Rashad White. I just it's going to be one of the 2 Lions guys to me, and I would take Gibbs over Montgomery in this particular game.
Yeah, Montgomery does a lot of his work through the middle, and that's where the
Mm-hmm.
Bucs defense is most stout. I think if you can get Gibbs on the edge with his speed, a couple things, flip it outside. If you can get past the first level of the linebackers, this Lions team shown they can block downfield. So you could pop a couple. I like that play, Tyson, especially at plus 230. Couple for me here. I'm going to go Chris Godwin over 62.5 receiving yards. I think this is a bounce back game for Chris Godwin. Now, he was not targeted that often against the Eagles, which shocked us. Like, we thought for sure he was going to be the focal point. It was
We
Cade
were right. It
Otton
was
tight
over
end.
the middle. It was Cade Otton that was getting the targets. It turned into a pick your. They're both open. Throw it to whatever one you want, Baker.
Exactly. So I think there is going to be a more, I guess not strategic, but like a more efforted approach to get Chris Godwin involved in this game. His prop number is higher than it was last week, which is of note against the Eagles, who everybody knew the slot defense was an issue. It's only 6 yards lower than Mike Evans, which is telling to me because Evans could go off in this one. I think the books are expecting a big Chris Godwin game. If that's the case, I think this is too low. We could potentially see him get a 100-yard game. So I think it's a bounce back week for my Penn State guy here. Over 62.5 for Chris Godwin. And I'll close out. I think Jamison Williams. I'm taking him over 2.5 receptions.
You got a Bateman prop too?
I don't. I didn't have that much balls, Tyson. So I was noticing against the Rams, Jamison Williams caught a couple balls. He was featured early. I'm thinking about this one. Antoine Winfield, the guys in the secondary for the Bucs have been playing much better. I think they're going to be shadowing Amon-Ra St. Brown, throwing him double coverages, throwing different things like that. Now, maybe you would think, okay, let's pivot to Josh Reynolds. Tyson, they want to get Jameson Williams involved. Like, they are begging this kid with his speed to get involved in the offense. Screen passes could be in play here. We steal a couple. Anything over the middle, maybe a deep shot from Goff. I think Jameson Williams could have a big breakout game. I'm just going to be safe, though. I'm going to take his reception props at over 2.5.
Would you be interested at all in pairing a Jameson Williams touchdown with the Detroit Lions money line at plus 380?
Touchdown, no. I think if anything, I'll do Jameson Williams over 100 plus with the Lions money line.
100 plus. Damn, dude.
I mean, we're taking shots. We're taking shots.
All right, I'm with it.
Okay, we moving on to Chiefs?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Last game of the weekend. God, it's going to make us cry as we get into the Super Bowl. We're like, oh, geez. Chiefs at Bills. A lot of things to play for here. A lot of stuff. I mean, this is going to be awesome. I got 3 plays in this one as well. I'm surprised I don't have more. I probably could have found more. I love this game. I think it's going to be fun. Tyson, I can't believe I'm getting suckered in. I'm taking Bills minus 2.5 at minus 122. This could come back to just completely devastate me. I'm going to have equity on the Bills. I'm going to be rooting for the Bills, and I'm just fully prepared to go into full heartbreak mode. But I think under a field goal, maybe you take them at minus 146 if something funky happens. But under a field goal, I'll do minus 122 here. I just think it's the Bills' time. We laid it out in the preview show. I think this is the most equipped they've been to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They're getting to play at home in front of their raucous fans. They're not going to be an Arrowhead. And Josh Allen's had Patrick Mahomes' number in the regular season. That hasn't translated into the playoffs. I think this is the year they get it done. Bills minus 2.5. Let's go. Circle the wagons.
Give me the boogeyman. Give me the Chiefs money line plus 124. Is Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs or plus money on the money line? Like, I don't know how many other times in the rest of his career we're going to get this opportunity. This is like when we bet Iowa under 6.5 points. It's just kind of a principle thing. But if you listen to our show, I do think that there is I think there's something to be said about what they've done to this team. And I think that if this game is close in the second half, in the fourth quarter, it's going to be a lot of looks on the sideline of shell shock for the Buffalo Bills, because I think that they really want to run these guys out of the building. And I just don't think you run Pat Mahomes out of the building in the divisional round.
Well, speaking of running and Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to take over 4.5 rushing attempts for Mahomes. So he runs more when he gets in these playoff games. Like, he uses his legs more. We saw that against the Dolphins. Against the Bills, he's been able to run on the Bills when they get into their man looks, kind of sees their backs turns and run. Also, I believe a kneel down attempt counts as a rushing attempt as well. So a kneel down, I think, is a rushing attempt. Tyson, if he has to take 3 knees, I think he runs the ball more than 2 times in the during the normal portion of the game. So if he's taking knees, it's a nice emotional hedge that the Chiefs are probably winning the game. So I lose the Bills bet, but maybe I can make it up for the rushing attempts here. But I do think even without the kneel downs, I think he's going to be running the ball. This offense has not looked right. It's been different so far against the Dolphins, but against, we said they played on air. Like, there was no threat from the Miami Dolphins offense, but he still ran the football. I think he does that here. And on the flip side, speaking of running, I'm going to go James Cook over 61.5 rush yards. This team wants to be physical. The Bills do. I think they're going to be able to do what the Dolphins couldn't last week. That's use their size, use their scheme, and get James Cook going downhill. It's going to help out the entire offense. And when Josh Allen starts throwing the football, I think maybe that softens up the front for the Chiefs a little bit as well. Like, maybe things get a little bit more spread out, all that good stuff. But it is scary when it's the Buffalo Bills, because you're like, God, when are they going to just throw the ball 60 times? But with Joe Brady there as OC, he's had a strategy, he's had a game plan, he's stuck to it, and I think it's worked for him. I don't expect him to change it now. I'm going James Cook over 61.5 rush yards.
This is setting up perfectly for my phone to start exploding. This is a tweak. This is a tweak weekend for you, because I'm going to get this asshole just threw the ball away at 4 yards of open. He has 4 yards to go from Mahomes, and then when the Bills abandon the run, my phone's going to explode. But Brad, I mentioned it off the top a little bit. Isaiah Pacheco, 25 plus rushing yards in each half, is plus 120. This just feels like the way that the Chiefs are going to play football, until further notice. And I think they start with Pacheco. I think Pacheco finds success early. And as long as the game stays close, I have no I just at plus 120. This is just a smash. We don't do play of the weeks in the playoffs, but if we did, it would have been last week, and it would be again this week.
Love it. I love it. We got a lot of stuff for you people out there, man. We are locked and loaded here on divisional weekend. Should be a fun slate of games. Like Tyson said, I'm probably going to be finding more stuff to bet on, to be completely honest. Like, I just love some of the angles in these games. So I'm not necessarily have it in the account now. I'm not giving it out on the show, but I may add it somewhere, Tyson. Where can they find that?
It'll be in the Chalkboard app. It's in the App Store or Google Play, wherever you download your apps. The group name is ISWIS, presents the Roundtable Bets. Type that in the search bar there. We'll let you write in. It's a free group. Any sport you're playing, from ping pong to billiards to the NFL playoffs, it's all available in there. Let us know what you're playing, whatever fun parlays you have this weekend, or major locks that you really like. So hop in there and let us know.
Billiards. What a sweat. Snooker. Yeah, that's, man, I don't know. If you got an edge on that, let us know. Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay. I wouldn't say I'm
I've seen you
great.
shoot free throws. I feel like you got the touch.
A little bit of a touch. The touch is the problem, actually. It's I get a little too excited and blast it through. But if you want to ask us these questions, you know where to do it, man. You can follow us on our socials: X, Instagram, TikTok. We'll be responding on there. Am I a good pool player? I am a good free throw shooter. So if you want to know anything else with us, hit us up at our social medias at ISWIS_pod. The X, Instagram, and TikTok channel. It's all the same handle there. In the meantime, on the way out, if you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button, like, subscribe, and share overall. If you're listening in podcast form, rate, review. 5 stars would be preferable. Send us in a comment if you want to comment on anything. If it's a question, we'll answer it on the show. All that good stuff. We're excited for this weekend. We hope you are too. We'll be back next week breaking everything down that we just saw. And then we'll get you ready for championship weekend in the National Football League. I can't believe we're here. It's moving quick. It's going to be fun. Enjoy the weekend of football. We'll talk to y'all next week. Till then, guys. Peace.